with wonderful people all over this country. She is a beautiful
Guyana will become the next Dubai, and we, the citizens of Guyana, are super excited to benefit from our homeland the same way the citizens of Dubai benefit from theirs.
This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free. And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this: free land. Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0 interest loan on housing.
Zero?
0.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of, and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home, so your friends can come and say goodbye to you.
Guyana will become the next Dubai.
with wonderful people all over this country. She is a beautiful Guyana.
Welcome to Globespan 24/7 as we bring to you our Monday night program from New York, Guyana, and around the world. We want to thank Noir Singh for making this platform available, and of course to Ryan Gobian, our technical specialist tonight. This evening, we had intended to discuss workers' rights and division among trade union with the General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, but unavoidably couldn't make it this evening. But tonight, we'll be talking about the ruling of the High Court and everything Exxon. And it was kind of blessing in disguise that Mr. Lincoln Lewis couldn't make it. So we have the former CEO of the EPA, Dr. Vincent Adams, and of course, civil rights activist in Guyana, Mr. Frederick Collins, to help us along this program. As you all know, it was Mr. Collins and another Guyanese from University of Guyana who took this matter to court. And as we all know, what the court ruled. So tonight, we'll be discussing a lot of the implications of that court ruling. So gentlemen, welcome to the program tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, and Dr. Rose.
Right. So, and to our audience out there, also, we want to thank you for joining us. And I'm sure we'll have a 1.5 hour lively discussion with both Mr. Collins and Dr. Adams. Mr. Collins, you are the prime mover of this case. Through your lawyer, you wrote the government requesting clarification on the liability of Exxon in case there's a spill, and they keep ignoring you. We know when Dr. Adams was there, when they were doing Lisa 1 and 2, he told the nation and the world that he insisted that the liability for the parent company be included, and that is what they did until, of course, the new government came in, and I don't know if they use the word kicked out or they relieved him of his duties. Whichever one is more appropriate, Dr. Adams can tell us that. So, Mr. Collins, tell us exactly, give us the history, a historical background of what caused you and a dear friend of University of Guyana to do what you guys did.
Well, we noticed that what was happening with regard to other issues. For example, we noticed the almost bullying with regard to Schlumberger, and I think it was a matter of a public record that they were, in spite of the court ruling, they were going to continue with this matter. We noticed how EIA's economic, environmental impact assessments tend to become, waived and so on. And it seemed that there was a free-for-all going on somewhere along the line. But in the case of transparency, we have been, as you know, vocal, and in the press we have expressed our concerns since 2017. It rose to a pitch in 2019, a series of articles about the unfairness of the contract, including the situation with regard to insurance. So when a group of us civically minded people exchange correspondence, we've been doing that over the past year or so with regard to what can be done, we decided that we were going to have to take stronger steps in order to get our servants, because that is what we elect governments for, to serve the people. We decided that we would have to take stronger steps to get our servants to fall in line with what is in the best interests of the company, as set out by those very servants in Parliament when they passed certain laws. We didn't believe, and we still don't believe, that laws at great expense. The nation is put to great expense to watch a parade in Parliament, to pass laws, only for them to be kicked down like sandcastles. So that, in summary, is how we got to this point.
And as our audience know, Mr. Collins is the head of the Transparency International.
Transparency International. We are the local affiliate of Transparency International in Guyana, called TIGI, right. Transparency Institute.
Okay. Dr. Adams, you wrote a lot. Well, you were the former CEO of the EPA. Tell our audience again, for the umpteenth time, and you've been saying this over and over again, what did you get Exxon to do in regard to Lisa 1 and 2, in relation to what the court ruled?
Good. Thanks, Charles. And just a slight correction, because the vice president seems to be obsessed with mentioning my name in every single press conference and misinforming the public that I signed Lisa 1. That Lisa 1 was signed 15 months before I arrived there. As a matter of fact, it was signed by Mr. Parshram, who was acting there for 2 years before I arrived. Lisa 1 was signed in June of 2017. I arrived at the EPA in October of 2018. So I had nothing to do with Lisa 1. However, when Lisa 2 came to my desk at the end of 2018, the start of 2019, I saw a major flaw, because Lisa 1 had absolutely no coverage, none. All it said, which was in compliance with the agreement, by the way, it says that they can carry self-insurance. Well, immediately, that I called the head of Exxon at the time, Rod Henson, a great, decent guy. And I said, Rod, this cannot work. There's no coverage whatsoever. He said, well, EPGL will cover. EPGL is, as I've been writing, is a limited liability company. And essentially, well, these big the pocket companies, what they do, such as Exxon, they form these limited liability company, and by definition, limited liability means they're forming these companies to insulate themselves from liabilities. So they form EEPGL. On top of that, EEPGL is incorporated in the Bahamas, not even in Guyana. They're not incorporated in Guyana. Okay. So when he told me about I said, well, EPGL doesn't have any assets. They were formed and they're going to build their assets when they start producing oil, etc. So he said, what do you want me to do? I said, well, you got to decide, but you've got to provide proper coverage, not insurance, proper liability coverage. They went out, he brought back an insurance policy from London or someplace. When I added up the numbers, it was like $2 billion total. And he was grinning from ear to ear. I said, wait a minute. Did you know what the Macondo spill in the Gulf cost? At the time it was running like 70 billion. It's now like 145 billion, by the way, US dollars. So I said, you got to come better than that, because if something happens to Guyana, the entire budget at the time wasn't even $2 billion. So here you are asking if we have a spill like that. So they went, and he said, he come up with all kinds of stuff and said, well, he's going to have to bring in the president of Exxon to talk to the president of Guyana. I said, well, you know, my brother, you could bring in God. It's not moving. I am not signing anything. I mean, those were my exact words. He said, well, you know, we were Exxon after all. We've got all kinds of assets. We would never walk away. And I smiled at him and looked in my eyes and said, well, then that pleases me. What you're saying there, all I'm asking is to put it in writing. Which is exactly, by the way, what Rutledge is saying. Did you see what Rutledge is saying?